Alright legends, welcome along to another video. Now, in the last one, I promised that I would share with you a story that happened quite a while ago now. When I was talking in the last video about the whole mentality of just people getting very, very comfortable with being ignorant and arrogant towards you and just like insulting you with a smile on their face under the guise of having fun. And it's a culture that's been alive and well for a long, long time in Northern Ireland. And as I said briefly in the last video, people from the outside looking in to this hearing the way friends speak to each other over here, would honestly think that they hate each other. Now, I started laughing when I said that in the last video because this story popped into my head. And to give you a little bit of context on what I mean by the way people talk to each other, just think of those. If you've ever seen a roast happen, a celebrity and whatnot, people get up and they make fun of them and whatnot. That's very much like the culture over here. But when I get into the story, I could tell you some of the things that people were saying to each other, but I don't want to get the channel in any trouble, because these days, terms of service right now, it's only a matter of time before they really take a look at like channels and just brutally get onto anybody's channel and just do like a read of what the terms of service actually are. And as soon as they do that there, if they come after you for everything you're not allowed to do, a lot of channels are going to get in a lot of trouble. So I'm trying to keep this one as fresh and clean as I can as far as the kind of stuff that it will say on the channel. But to give you a little bit of context, if you've seen Trainspotting 2, T2 Trainspotting, that is a great example of what I mean. And there's a part in the movie, and I actually took a screenshot of the time code just to let you know if you haven't seen the movie and you've got a copy of it. Skip in 37 and a half minutes into the film. In this part of the movie, T2 Trainspotting, Bagby has taken his son out to make money by robbing houses, and then he's going to go and sell the stuff and try and make money on the stuff that he's nicked from houses. And he takes his kid to meet Mikey Forrester in the movie, and Bagby walks in, and the first thing he says, he does this kind of like a laugh, yo ho ho, yeah, and he says something to the guy, and it is, if you took the dialogue that he says in this part of the film and just looked at it, it's an insult, but it's like a joke with a jab sort of a thing. And that's very much the culture in Northern Ireland is very, very similar to Scotland, and the humour that you would see in Trainspotting is very similar over here. And I can take a joke. I've got into it, if I get into that situation and somebody's giving me that sort of grief, I can give it back as good as I get it. But I'm not a big fan of it, and I'll not push it to the point where it's actually going to hurt someone's feelings, just like common sense will stop you. But the story, 4 minutes into the video, again, cannot record a short video to save my life. This story happened probably around 2001, 2002, thereabouts. I was still married at the time. I was living down around the coast, and there was a friend that had moved across, and he didn't know anyone, so I took it upon myself to hang out with him, and get him, just give him someone to chill with. And we headed down to a local pub in Coleraine, a local bar in Coleraine in Northern Ireland here. It was called the Bullseye at that stage. Doesn't matter really, but we get in there and we're having a couple of the drinks and a couple of games of pool, whatever, just chilling out, just, helping him acclimatise to the new place where he was living at. So, he's from England, born and bred in England, and he was sitting, they were chatting away, and these two guys come in. No, sorry, there's three guys come in. And they get into that sort of slagging match, let's just say. They started ripping into each other. Jokes with jabs, very much like Begbie and Trainspotting. At that point, you go check out the movie. Meets Maggie Forrester, the first thing he says. It's that sort of deal right there. Again, I'm trying to keep the channel as clean as I can. But it was hilarious because the guy who was sitting with me, he was taking it all in. And he was like, is there going to be a fight here? These guys sound like they absolutely detest the sight of each other. And I'm like, this is just what it's like over here. They're ignorant as sin. Myself included. You can put me in the same boat. As I say, I can get into that there as just as good as anybody else, but I'll not go the distance if it's going to hurt someone. But the funniest fight that I have ever witnessed started that night. Well, it was broken up very swiftly, but that's what started the fight, was the funny thing. These guys were going back and forth, and the two or three of them, whatever it was, and somebody said something smart, sarcastic comment about the other guy. The other guy's quick as like, comes back at the other guy with another quip, and this was going back and forth, and the guy that was off me, he was like, just like, what the heck is going on here? I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I was just like, this is brutal, this is unreal. And I was sort of just enjoying it for the fact that this guy hadn't got a clue what was happening. But I went back and forth, and it was as ignorant as sin. Some of the things these guys were saying to each other was just that far over the line, they couldn't even see the line anymore. It was just unreal. It was brutal. And what started the fight was, I went back, and this story would make so much more sense to you guys if I was actually telling you some of the things that these people were saying. But again, I don't want to get myself in trouble on YouTube. But yes, smart comment, sarcastic comment. Guy comes back with another one. This goes back and forth. They're playing pool, having a drink. This goes on for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then the guy says the one thing that I was not expecting him to say. And the other guy lost it completely. The worst insult that this guy ever got in his life was 3 simple words. And just imagine it. Again, get yourself in the mindset, Begbie, that Trainspotting setup. What he says to Mikey Forrester, back and forth, it just gradually goes higher and higher, worse and worse, and just more ignorant each time. Finally, the guy turns around and he looks this guy square in the face. 3 simple words, and I'll never forget it to my dying day, because it's the least ignorant thing that was said that night. He looks this guy dead straight in the eye, and he says 3 words, and the 3 words were, get a job. I almost wet myself. The guy turned red, then he started getting into like a deep purple. He was ready to wreck the absolute everything in the bar. He's going to kill this guy for telling him, get a job. I don't know what it is about the culture over here. Like, there's a heck of a lot of people in this country that wouldn't know a day's work if it dropped out of the sky and landed in their face. And there's so many people sitting at home pretending to be sick, sitting on benefits and whatnot, and that must have been the deal with these 2 guys. And the fact that the guy had said get a job was such an insult to this other guy. He went across the bar at him, tried to beat him with the pool cue, And the bouncer had to step in and drag the two of them out and kick them out of the bar. And that's the last I've seen of them. And but I don't know. Hopefully you found that as funny as what I found it. But excuse me. But that's crazy. That's just another example of how weird and strange that this whole current setup is, with the whole humour thing, and just really going out of your way to push somebody's buttons just to really annoy them to the point where they're actually going to, people will drive other people to actually starting a fight just for the fun of it. That's crazy. I don't get it. And again, I have been involved in it in the past. It's just something, particularly in the factory environment, as I said in the last video, like, you need to have such a hard skin, and you need to be able to take a joke. And if you get into this sort of thing, you need to be able to stand your ground and go back at these guys as good as they're coming at you, because I don't know. And again, for me to actually crack up as bad as it did the other day, if you don't know that, go check out the previous video on the channel. But the nicotine, detoxing yourself from nicotine is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, and it's far worse at this point than the painkillers ever were. But yeah, crazy story. Hope you enjoyed it.